Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I am here on Friday, January 19th, 2024 at the Mental Investors Forum in Vancouver. I'm here with Leo Hathaway. He's the CEO of Golden Shield Resources. GSRI is the symbol. It's one of the companies that I invited to present with me. So, obviously I'm a shareholder. Golden Shield is working on a project in southern Suriname called Marudi Mountain. It's had some work done in the past by others. It does have a small resource on it, but what got my interest was Leo and his team sort of going in, doing a bunch of new sort of early, they drilled some very good holes at the main zone, but part of what I find interesting.
Guyana.
Yep.
Guyana,
sorry. Suriname is the other one.
I was thinking, am I able to edit that out or not?
Yeah. Now, you went back. You did a bunch of drilling at Mazoa Hill, generated some great drill holes. That's sort of one of the two, I guess, known areas, and we'll talk about that first. But I also want to touch on all of these other targets that you guys have generated, because you've done a bunch of sort of early stage targeting work just in the last little while. So you're going to be getting to targeting those too. But let's start with this first hole you're going to drill. You're drilling this deep hole, essentially down the plunge of the zone. The historic resource there is kind of pit constrained, so it's got this little area here. Leo's team has already hit this thing with really good holes, quite a ways below that old sort of pit shell. But you're drilling sort of down plunge now. And what's the reasoning for doing the hole the way you're doing it?
The host of the gold is an anticline where the hinge is the fat bit. It's been tilted right side and it dips down at 60 degrees. So the pit, the old historic pit, is in the top of that, which contains 350,000 ounces more or less as a historic resource. And we've drilled at least that depth vertically again below with our 2021 and 2022 drill campaigns. And we were stepping out in 50-meter increments, and the mineralization keeps going, but it gets progressively more expensive, obviously, as you do that. So we want to do a resource estimate, but the market tends to conclude that when you do a resource estimate, you're close to being at the end of it, which we don't feel we are. So we took the decision to basically drill a hole right down the fold hinge, hoping we stay in it as deep as we can. We've got 950 meters of rods at site. And we've currently drilled to a vertical depth of around 400 meters. That's the deepest intercept so far. So this will take us down to 800 meters vertically, 950 meters down the hole. So at that point, we'll really know, we'll be able to budget how much it would cost more or less to drill an inferred resource off, and then figure out financing from there, because financing 50-meter increments hasn't really been doing anything for us.
Yeah, because if you end up going down to 800 or 900 meters, you're talking about a lot of pretty long drill holes. So you want to know it's there before you start doing the long drill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that will also give often in a porphyry copper, what I've done is just drilled incrementally, but in this case, we need to know what's there and give the market an indication of what's there to I think be able to fund drilling it off.
Right. Now, on top of that, once you've done this hole, that's the start of the current drill phase. You'll be doing some drilling a couple of other places. One thing you guys did last year was you went in and did a whole bunch of RC drilling, and the reason for that is to get fresh sampling, because of course the saprolite is an issue all through that part of the world when it comes to mapping things, seeing things, sampling things. And I know you're still waiting. You're still waiting for whatever 30 or 40 of these RC holes from what looked like the most interesting target to me, and that was also a new target. I think that this is a Golden Shield target. I don't think it was really there before, was it?
No, there was some old workings there, but that was it.
Yeah, and it's an area called Pancake Creek. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I guess the first thing is we noticed from the historic work that a lot of the surface sampling anomalies, when they drilled them, there wasn't anything underneath, which told us we couldn't really trust what was at surface. And that's why we bought an RC rig so we could punch through the saprolite and get to the fresh rock and really know what we were drilling.
Right.
But you know, Mazoa Hill does stick out of the ground, and sometimes they are in situ. So we've done a lot of prospecting, identified a lot of different projects. But one of the areas that came out looking really good, and this is what you picked up on, about a quarter of the surface samples we took were above a gram of I think 150, 200 samples in that area of Locust Creek and Pancake Creek, are what the two creeks are called. We call the whole area Pancake Creek. So we drilled a RC grid, spaced about 30-meter grid, covering that area, about 40 holes, and we're waiting for the results of that back. But from what we've seen so far, it looks like the anomaly is continuous. But we want to make sure we drill the highest grade center of it. So the deep hole that we're drilling at Mazoa will give us ample time to put all of that together and then plan the next holes. And the other area that looks good is Marudi North, where there was already a historic resource and a bunch of diamond drilling that they thought was closed off to the west, but when we did our RC grid, it extended in that direction, about 150, 200 meters. So.
Okay. So the drilling has started now on the deep hole?
Yeah, we're 120 meters at the moment.
Okay. Okay, so we should be hearing about that fairly quickly. Sometime while that's being drilled, we'll probably see an update on Pancake Creek, target I really like a lot, and that's presumably that and Marudi North is where the drill goes next after you've done this long hole. So the other holes are presumably going to be relatively short.
Yeah, 200 meters we put the other holes.
Okay. So we've got like 10, 12 hole program here. This project historically has generated some very good results. I mean, this deep hole, just because of the way it's being drilled, for the reasons it's being drilled, could be a real boomer, to put it mildly. But you know, don't discount what we might see at Pancake and Marudi North too. And Pancake in particular is a new target. When you look at the surface sample results, I really caught on really last year when Leo put out the first kind of prospecting results, and the average grade of a large population of samples was crazy good. It was the kind of stuff you just don't usually see. A sample population of a bunch of prospecting samples generate those kind of numbers unless there's something there under their feet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that get drilled. You guys have been, the market's been quiet for you guys, but I think once you start generating diamond drill results, I think right now is a really good time to be looking at this story. It's a really good entry point to get ahead of this drilling and these drill results, because I think they could be in for a pretty exciting Q1, Q2. Leo and his team have done a great job at retargeting here. It's a really good looking project. Thanks for coming by and giving us the update, Leo, and fingers crossed that that thing stays in for 950 meters.
Fingers crossed, yeah. The good thing is,
and there's like zoning, like it's not just a matter of like, you're drilling down plunge of this thing, but within the system there's sort of secondary things that affect the grade. That's part of what you're trying to nail down.
Yeah, and that's what's really going to help for a resource estimate, because there's multiple vein sets, and some of the holes have been drilled parallel to them, so maybe you missed the vein or you're in the vein. So drilling orthogonal to that will really help corroborate the grade and give an idea of the grade distribution down the plunge of the chute. So
Okay. Golden Shield Resources, GRSI, on the Canadian exchange. Good story, strong team, really strong project. Should be fun as these drill holes come in.